everybody, thanks for coming to check out today's video. Today I'm doing another art sculpture where I take this propane bottle and I'm going to turn it into an anglerfish. Yeah, I know it doesn't make a lot of sense right now. It's okay, just wait. It'll make a lot more sense by the end. Let me show you how I did it. Alright everybody, there's a lot to go through and people's attention spans are short, so let's jump right into this build. I will be using a 3-inch hollow steel ball for the eyes. I am trying to cut it nicely in half, but I'm using a cutoff wheel, so honestly I'm just hoping for the best. And they also put this annoying hole in the other side. I'm sure there's a reason for it, but it's inconvenient since I want this thing to be solid. So I will go back later and tack that up, take a grinder to it, and hopefully by the end you won't even know that it was there. For the pectoral fins, I am using these two random cheap spatulas that I got, honestly just because they kind of look like fins already. And if I get the fin names wrong today, my bad. I'm not good with fish. I don't even go fishing. So if I get it wrong, just let me know down in the comments and correct me. Next, I'm going to bend a piece of 1/2-inch rebar for the Elysium. Yeah, I had no idea. I'm literally looking at it right now. It's essentially a modified, elongated first spine of the dorsal fin extending from the fish's head. So, if you don't learn anything else from this video, at least you learned a fun fish fact. For the actual light, I wanted to use something that would be kind of different and stand out a bit, so I am using, I think it's like a 1 3/8" marble. I had it when I was a kid and it was just sitting in a box, so I figured might as well put it to good use. I'm using 3/16 round stock to hold the actual marble to the end of the rebar. I am using a pipe to form the actual bend that I need to hold the marble. The pipe is a little bit smaller, so it was a little bit tight on the first one, but that's okay because I don't want this to rattle around. I'm going to do one large loop around it and then 2 smaller pieces on each side. So I have to go through, bend everything up, grab the cutoff wheel, cut each section out, and then I will fit each one to the marble and rebar once I get everything cut out. I wasn't sure what the best way would be to measure how much of this I would need, so in normal Kyle fashion, I just eyeballed the lines on for where I wanted to make my cuts. With all the pieces cut, it's time to trap this marble forever and get it all tacked together. Now that I get all this done, I can say I'm actually pretty happy with how it turned out. I have never done anything like this before, so it was a fun new experience. And now that I got it done, I'm gonna jump over to the burn table where I'm gonna cut out the tail fin and the dorsal fin. Also, I am going to cut the mouth out of the actual propane bottle. Yeah, not even close, but give me some slack. I did have my hood down, and it makes it really hard to see. That's kind of the whole point. Oh, here's another lesson if you didn't already know. If you grab something that you just cut with a plasma cutter, it's really hot. So you should use something to pick it up and not use your hand. Don't be like me. Be smarter. I am now going to make the most important cuts of this build. I am going to cut the mouth out of the propane bottle. I wasn't sure how I was going to lay out the design for the mouth. Luckily, my buddy Adam was over and he helped me lay everything out and settle on a design. I am actually intentionally being shaky as I cut all of the teeth out because I wanted to give them a jagged look to hopefully make this thing look a little more meat. I was really surprised that after I finished cutting that the entire piece was loose, so I didn't miss anything. But I also didn't take into account that it's size on size pretty much, so this cut off chunk isn't gonna fall out. So I thought, oh, cut the outside edges. No, that's not gonna work either. I'm gonna go through and cut the entire thing in half so it'll actually come off. While I was cutting this out, Adam had a great idea and suggested that I cut all of the teeth off of the cutoff pieces and use them as an additional row of teeth later on, and I really like the idea, so that's what we're gonna do. And of course, I had to stop for a minute and just be a child because you can't be serious all the time. To finish out the work on the burn table, I am now cutting out the dorsal fin. I will go through and clean up all of the stuff that I've cut already, get all the slag off and get them ready for the next step, which will be welding everything on. Instead of trying to grind the slag off each individual tooth, I ground all of them at once while they were still attached to the main piece. And now I'm going to go through and cut off each individual tooth, and we are going to switch over to Giant's View, and I can give you a better look on how I placed the entire second row of teeth. With all the teeth tacked on, the last thing I want to do is go through and put one more tack on the outside of each tooth just to make sure that they are less likely to break off at some point. Now that I got the teeth all done, I am moving on to adding my spatula pectoral fins. These things are pretty thin, so I did turn my welder down quite a bit, so hopefully I don't just burn straight through them. All that's left now is to add the tail fin, the dorsal fin, the eyes, and the elysium, whatever, this thing. I did also learn that I shouldn't weld each piece as I tack them on because it makes editing and voiceover way harder later. So I learned. Tack them all on, weld everything at once. Makes things way simpler. With all the building done, there's just one last thing I want to do. I'm going to go through and bend all of these spines on the dorsal fin. And this is usually where I would tell you, alright, I'm going to clean it up and paint it, and I'll show you some sweet B-roll. But this time is different. I was convinced to try to do a fun paint job for this project, so we're going to move over to the paint rack, where I'm going to start with the first coat, and I am using a dark brown for the first layer so it can keep that scary, menacing vibe going. I also painted grease on the marble so the paint won't stick and I can wipe it all off later. Then I'm going to move on to applying the second coat, which is a dark red. And I was told about a technique where you ball up a shopping bag and just pat it all over the paint after you put it on, and it'll leave a cool texture. So I was hoping that after it all dried completely, it would look good, and I think it actually did. So we're going to move on to painting the inside of the bottle. I'm keeping it simple. I'm just going to paint the entire inside black, and then I can paint the last part of this project, which are the eyes. I'm going with a shiny silver, so hopefully it contrasts the rest of the paint nicely and really makes the eyes pop. And that will actually do it for this video. Don't worry, I will be sending you out of here with some sweet B-roll. So thank you for coming to watch my video. If you enjoyed what I did here today, like, comment, share, subscribe, all that. We'll see you in the next one. And here is a public service announcement telling you don't stick your hand into a bunch of paint, because if you have nothing to clean it off, it's kind of a pain.